Welcome to the Banderpod, the weird and wired podcast of Bandersnatch books. We're a small press publisher of treasures found off the beaten path for lovers of all that is good, true, and beautiful. I'm Carrie Givens, and today I'm joined by my friend and the newest member of Bandersnatch Books team, Melissa Woodruff. Melissa is a long friend of Bandersnatch and a volunteer, but she's recently officially joined the team as our new head of sales and marketing and one of the owners of the company. Melissa, welcome to the Banderpod.
Thanks.
It's so fun to have you in this context.
I know. Last time I was asking you questions.
That's true. So yes, listeners, last season, Melissa interviewed, so was it all of us?
Yeah.
About stuff. I don't even remember what we talked about, but it was great. Guys, you should listen.
It was fun.
So, Melissa, can you please introduce yourself? Who is Melissa Woodruff and what is her life like on a daily basis?
Well, that is a loaded question because my days are crazy. I am a mom and a wife. I am married to my college best friend, and we have 5 kids that range from 14 down to 18 months. And in the middle of those 5 is 3 boys. So pray for your girl. We live in South Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, just across the state line. And I work at a church, and I do connections and community. And I also somehow got doing church finance, which doesn't seem like it should go together, but here I am. I have a real heart for community and for outreach and things like that. So it's fun that I get to do that. And then I'm with you guys pretty much in my spare time. If I'm not with my family or my church, I'm with you guys. If not with you, talking to you.
Right, exactly. But so tell us a little bit, looking back, just about your background. Like, what kinds of things have you done and what sort of things have you been in life up until this point?
I have been a lot of things. I started working when I was 15 years old, and I started working I was a camp counselor, and part of my job at the camp counselor was working at the camp store. So I like to say that's where my sales experience started. But from there, I pretty much stayed in sales. I became a store manager when I was 19 of Eclairs, and continued in retail sales between like Old Navy. I was a store manager for Radio Shack for a while, which is fun. I like to say I was like one of the rats in the Titanic that was jumping ship before it sank. So I've done a lot of sales. And then I stopped working when I married my husband. I stopped working in that capacity and started doing more direct sales things. I had an Etsy shop and a photography business, and I sold Usborne books for a while. So I don't sit still well, but then I had so many kids that I didn't have to worry about filling my time because of them.
It's true.
So then a few years, and then the Lord just kind of dropped this job at my church in my lap, like literally came after me for it. And then here I am with you guys.
There you go. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But before we get there, like Rachel and like Annie Beth and me, you are also a writer. So tell our listeners a little bit about what you write.
This is exciting. I don't talk about my writing a whole lot. I love reading really fantastical and sci-fi type things, but I am not great at writing those things, which is really interesting because almost all my writer friends are into the more fantastical and sci-fi or speculative and whatnot. But I really love writing concrete, more real life stuff. I actually started writing when I was, I don't know, like a kid. I was stapling my own books together that I wrote in crayon. But yeah, as all good writers do.
Exactly.
And then when I was 16 or 17, I started writing the novel that I'm still working on. And it's just about a family who has to deal with the passing of their father and how siblings kind of decide what their identity is when they're not being compared to their parents or not under their parents anymore. And then also ask the question, how much can we blame our parents? Where do we, how many things can we blame our parents for? And then what are we responsible for kind of shifting and developing in ourselves? And it's been a really cool thing to develop as I've gotten older and become a parent. And I think that's why it's taken me so long to write it, because my perspective has shifted a whole lot. And I have a whole lot more grace for my parents than I did when I was 16 or 17.
I was going to say, the book you write about what you can blame your parents for at 16 is very different than
correct
what you can blame them for in your 30s or 40s. Yeah.
But I really love real life people having real life redemption and restoration and just like finding grace for other people and healing. That's, I think, my writing has never been overtly Christian, but it's always pointed to the heart of restoration and the heart of just like healing the way the Lord does it. It's never the way we want it to be, but it's very often out of left field and it's so much better than we can think or imagine. And so that's the heart behind most of the things that I write.
Yeah. Well, and friends, I have seen a little bit of Melissa's writing. We're in a writing group together, and it's good, guys. So, you have something to look forward to someday when Melissa decides she's ready to put something out in the world. So,
thanks, Fred.
Well, I have written about meeting you in our Bandersnatch weekly Substack newsletter, but I want to hear this story from your perspective. Tell us, what is your Bandersnatch books origin story?
It's funny, I have the Time Hop app that shows the pictures, and every year around March, these pictures come up of when my husband and I were at the homeschool conference in Greenville, and I was taking pictures of all the things I wanted to remember to go back to. And it's all, like, I see, like, Goblet and Real Poems for Real Moms pop up every year, and it just makes my heart smile because, I mean, that we were literally just walking through, I think we gave up on workshops like day one. We were like, there's too many things to see. And my husband and I have a problem when we go places, we make friends with everybody. And we realized if we wanted to make friends with people, we couldn't go to workshops. So we just kind of hopped from one vendor thing to another, and we would go up and we'd say, tell us your spiel. And I remember getting to the Bandersnatch booth, and Goblet caught my eye because of that adorable little goblin. And I was like, wait. Tell me your spiel. Like, I cannot wait to hear your spiel. And you gave me the Goblet spiel, and you were telling me all the things. And I was like, so basically, you publish weird things that are also adorable. And you said, well, we like to say we publish treasures found off the beaten path for the lovers of all things good, true, and beautiful. But yes, that is exactly. We publish weird things that are adorable. Can I make that a sticker? And I remember being like, I'm going to be a sticker? What? And then, yeah, and I remember when I got home from the homeschool conference, I was going through my bag of free swag, as one does after a homeschool conference. Mm-hmm. And I came across your bookmark, and I had bought quite a few books, actually. Probably. That's where my Bandersnatch collection started. And I got on your website, and I was looking around, and I saw that you guys were in Charlotte. And I got so excited because I realized that, like, we obviously clicked really quickly because I think we stayed at your booth for like 20 minutes or so. Like, we hung out for a minute.
And you came back.
Yes, we did. We did come back. We hung out multiple times. And so I emailed you and was like, hey, it's your weird, adorable friend. And I just wanted to let you know that I have a history in sales, and I would love to, I don't know, if you ever need a volunteer for vendor events. And you pretty quickly emailed me back and were like, yes. And then I remember getting stickers in the mail, and they were the weird things that are adorable stickers, and they made my heart so happy. So yeah, so then the rest is history, I guess.
So yeah, I remember at that conference, like after the first meeting, I remember you and Neil being like, okay, so we are, taking everything in, we're budgeting, working within our budget, etc. So we'll be back, but, like we have to see how much. And I remember when you came back, like you kind of walked around, going, and then you guys were like, we need to look at a few more details. And you just sort of walked over to one side of the booth, and like the two of you were there, and I'm sure you were doing math and like looking at pages and, and figuring it out. And then like after that conversation, you walked through and picked up a few more things.
There was a high five in there too. That's usually what happens at the end of a conversation we have. We're like, success.
And it was such a fun thing to watch, of just this, like, here's people who get it, like they get what we're doing. And then we're being responsible, we're taking our time making these decisions, but then also, oh, there's some wiggle room. We have wiggle room. We're going to use it here.
I need you to know that, like, the concession in that was that some of those books were my Christmas presents. So this was March. And so on Christmas, nice. I was waiting for, I remember Chittering Cottage was one. And I was like, that will fit perfect in a stocking. And then my stocking didn't have it. And I was like, where did it go? And he had forgotten completely about it. And so he had to go back in the bedroom on Christmas morning and get it so that it was in my stocking. So it was fantastic. But yeah, that was the concession. It was Christmas presents.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Oh my goodness. There you go. There you go. It fit within the budget. As obviously, like, you then started helping us out with events and things like that. As you got to know us and got to know our books over time, what is it that drew you to continue to invest in Bandersnatch?
I think it was really the first event that I worked with you. It was Matthew's Alive that following September. And I remember just sitting and spending time with you guys. So I got to meet all three of you. And I had mostly talked to you at the conference. So this was the first time I was really interacting with AB and Rachel. And then I met your authors. And I was like, man, these people love the Lord. And love, like, they have a heart to fill a gap. But they also have a heart for good storytelling. And I think, you know, many believers struggle with content that feels less, I don't know, fleshed out and less detail oriented. And the care is not there in that. It's just, hey, we're gonna give people Christian fiction because that's what they want, or Christian TV or whatever. And the standards that you guys had were just so high. And so I think that was the first thing, was just seeing how well the three of you filled each other's gaps. Just, I thought that was so intentional by the Lord to put you guys together that way. And and then from there, once I started reading, because most of what I got was poetry, which is really funny because I'm not a poetry person, or I wasn't at that time. And then the more I started reading your other books that you guys had put out, I was like, man, I need to tell I was a fangirl. I mean, like, super fangirl. And I wanted to tell everybody about you guys because you were doing something that at the time I had seen nobody else even try to do. And you guys were doing it well. So, yeah.
One of the things you've said a couple of times is you start reading something and you're not 100% sure why we picked this one. And then by the end of the book, it hits you. Can you just describe that process a little bit?
Yeah, it's definitely happened a couple times. I think the most recent time was In the Grip of the Ice. I was like, guys, this is like, I survived, but poetry. And it felt like a weird choice. And then I remember getting about a third of the way through it and realized that I had forgotten that I was reading, which is my number one indicator that something is a good book. And I definitely had forgotten that it was poetry. And then I was like, oh, got it. This is why. Like, this is the why. And I think that's happened. I don't know. I think Exile was another one that I struggled so hard to get through the first half, but it was because I'm a parent and she was an obnoxious, spoiled teenager. It's necessary for the story, but I was mad. But then, especially once I got through the end of the trilogy, I was like in tears about it. It was just so good. And so you guys just have a knack for the follow through. And the landing of the plane, as we say a lot in our group, just having the good landings. And so, yeah, it's great.
So we are calling you head of sales and marketing. Y'all, we made that name up. But at some point, like, Melissa and I were like, what do we think your title should be? How about this? We think really hard about titles. We do about book titles, everybody. We don't about job titles. But anyway, so far, what have your responsibilities been shaping up to be, and how many of them don't fall under head of sales and marketing?
Let's see. I think the first thing that you were like, please help me do this, was sales recording. Just tracking royalties for our authors and illustrators and making sure everybody gets their, credit for what they've sold or what has been sold for them. And then social media marketing, which was my least favorite thing to pick up. But I have enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
So if you have talked to us on social media in the past 6 weeks, it's probably been me. So hello. And then you made me do a book trailer.
I did.
A couple book trailer things.
You were great.
I was so scared. Yeah, I can't think of anything that, maybe carrying books in my car.
Right.
All of the books. That was scary also, because if I hadn't gotten there, we wouldn't have had any books to sell.
And there was a moment where it was like, wait, is she going to make it?
There was. I made it, 2 a.m., but
You made it. We appreciate you.
So, yeah. I don't know if there's anything that hasn't felt specifically under that.
Okay.
Can you think of anything that feels like
think so. I mean, you've been, even as a volunteer, part of our acquisitions readers and stuff like that. So that's definitely something that kind of we all do, the editorial side of things, both on the acquisition and then the follow through. You haven't yet jumped in on that. But yeah, definitely, I think that's something that's in nobody's title. And yet we all do it. And including Sam and some other volunteers too. So, okay. One of the things I have really enjoyed as I've gotten to know you through our friendship, but also particularly through your contributions to our weekly newsletter on Substack, is getting to know you as a reader. And it's just been so fun because I think you have different reading experience than I have had. And so there's things that you've, recommended or shown, pointed me to. But then also you're just an avid reader, and I love giving book recommendations. So you're constantly looking for them. So you've been a reader for a long time. What particular joys have you found in life through reading?
I think one of the things that has brought me so much joy is sharing reading with my kids, teaching them to read, because we homeschool. And so I have now taught 2 of my children to read. And that's just like, I don't know, there's something about that, watching your kid. And it's funny, the motivation for my oldest son to learn to read was that I couldn't stop washing dishes to read to him. And he was like, well, I'm going to learn to read then, so then I don't have to. And now he reads to everybody else. And so I think there's just something about the snuggles it's like guaranteed snuggle time when you're reading with your kids. So another thing that reading has been super impactful for me is for a huge chunk of my life, from the time I was, I think, kindergarten up until about 7 or 8 years ago, I struggled with debilitating anxiety. Like some days couldn't get out of the bed, anxiety. And reading was something that really helped me cope with that. I remember there were times where I was struggling like that, and the only thing that would help my mind settle was to read. And so I would sit, and it would like level me out. And I just think it was the Lord's kindness to give me something that could help me kind of center and focus. And I don't know, it's just, I think that's also a reason that I wanted to write, was because it helped me process things, and it helped me, honestly, again, give me grace for other things. Because when you write, you have to get into someone else's perspective. And doing that gives you grace for people when you understand a different perspective. And so I think reading and writing both has helped me, I don't know, have a more holistic view of humanity. And that is a gift. I mean, the more diverse types of books that you can read, the more perspectives that you can get, and the better you can understand people. And there's something about just being captivated by a story that, I don't know, when I have a book, I think my most recent one was A Red Door, that I literally was carrying around with me while I was like making dinner and doing things, because we don't have an audiobook, so I couldn't listen to it. So I was literally, it has coffee stains and taco stains and all these things because I was cooking while I was reading it. But when you get taken in by a story like that, I don't know, there's nothing like that. And it's different than watching a movie or a TV show. It's because your mind is doing so much of it's like a partnership with an author. When you come into what they've invited you to, and you get to fill in certain things with your own creativity. And that's, I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I love what you said about the getting to know, just the ability that reading gives you to see something from someone else's perspective. And, to getting to know a character and care about that character and realize that they don't view the world you view the way you view the world. And, so then you wrestle through, where is that different and where is that similar, and how can we find things in common? And it's like, hey guys, guess what? We could do this in our real lives too.
Right.
Dear world.
And I think it's a pretty... Yeah, right. I think it's a pretty incredible skill for writers when they can make you see a really flawed person that if you met on the street, you would probably want to punch in the face. But when you're reading their story and you're hearing their thoughts, and you know more than just the 5 minutes when you see them on the street, you care about them and you're invested in them, and it makes you look at the person on the street differently.
Yeah. You have been working your way through reading the Bandersnatch books catalog, which I am very impressed by the way. So it's hilarious when you're like, okay, I've gotten through this one and this one now, and now I'm getting through this one. And I'm like, and you're reading other things. So good job. So of the books that you have read so far, do you have a favorite Bandersnatch book?
Like an all-time favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to pick one?
At the moment, yes, you do have to pick one.
At the moment. I think Promise is probably, me and Rachel talk about this a lot. If we could read Promise for the first time over and over again, we would do it.
Yeah.
Because there's just something about reading for the first time. But it's hard. That one and The Red Door both together. The Red Door is, again, I just finished that one like 2 weeks ago. And it was, I was just so, it was just delightful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many ways it was delightful.
It's such a good book. It's such a good book. And it's...
You guys undersold it. You didn't tell me how good I say that all the time. I tell you guys, you didn't tell me how good this one was.
I'm like, I feel like we did, but you know.
You did. But I just, until I read it, I don't get it.
Hear it.
Maybe. Right. I didn't hear it. Now I know.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I read the manuscript of The Red Door, I was actually on a cruise. That was my cruise reading.
Amazing.
And it just was like, excuse me, I need to go read this.
Right. I have to step away from the sun to go read.
Okay. So in the time that you've been connected, I think it was 2023, spring of 23 that we met. So we're 3 years now. Do you have a favorite Bandersnatch moment or a favorite Bandersnatch memory, some highlight experience?
I don't know. I feel like, one of my favorite Bandersnatch memories was the anthology. Yeah. When we were just mad dashing to get those out. And I think it was like exchanging Christmas presents with you guys.
Yes.
I think watching you and Rachel open a Christmas present was one of the great joys of my 2025.
Oh,
it was
my
just
goodness.
I don't know. It was so fun.
I need to tell everyone about this Christmas present. Okay, so we were working on shipping out all of the Kickstarter rewards for the poetry anthology, which if you've ever shipped rewards for a Kickstarter, you know, because so many people have. But anyway, it's pretty complicated. Like you have to figure out like what's in each reward and make sure you get the right label with the right set of stuff. And then you have to box it all up and you know, all of those things. So we were working, like we set up my house as our staging center, and it was
an assembly
line like process, and different stations were doing different things. Rachel's mom was literally like pre-folding the boxes so that we could fold them easily because they were hard to
Shout
fold.
Out, Vicky.
Oh my word, Vicky, thank you. Anyway, so it would have been a long day of that, and you brought out your Christmas presents, and Annie Beth wasn't able to be there with us on those days. I think she had something else going on. But so you brought it for me and Rachel, and then you left one for Annie Beth. And we opened them together. And guys, oh my goodness. Christmas ornaments that were a big, you know, globe, clear globe. And inside, all of our books were little physical books inside, and all of the book covers were on them, and they were like open, like open books. They're so cool, guys. And she even had the poetry anthology in there. Like she had done everything, and Rachel and I were just gobsmacked because it was so cool, and you like clearly had put a lot of work into the part you did in order to get it to the artisan who made it. Right. And it was so cool. And then 2 or 3 nights later, I got to give Annie Beth's hers because I was seeing her. And so I was passing it along, and I was like, okay, I have to film you, Annie Beth, because Melissa got to watch us open it, and now she needs to be able to watch you open it.
I wish I had videos of everybody because it brought me so much joy.
It was so fun. So Annie Beth had equally, and Annie Beth was so nervous because she's like, I don't often react the right way. And I was like,
she reacted.
I was like, no, you did it.
You
did it exactly as you should. She had it precisely the right moment. So
it was perfect.
It was such a great gift. Okay, so I have really appreciated the energy that you've brought to our team. This is why we said this is a weird and wired podcast, because Melissa brings a lot of energy to the team, but also the vision that you've brought. Like you really have just been contributing to what we can do and where we can go and what we can look at. So what is your dream for Bandersnatch Books, and what do you hope to see in the coming years?
I think my dream is just that people have our books in their hands. It feels like such a simple thing, but I truly, truly believe in the vision that you guys started with. And just this, there is something amazing about being able to recommend a book to someone without caveat. You know, hey, this book is great, but there's, an F-bomb in it, like whatever.
Right.
And like to be able to put books in people's hands and say, I can give anybody this book and it's safe to be read.
Right.
And not only is it safe, but like your life might be better after reading this book because this story is pointing you towards the light. And I think, again, that's like something about the Daughter of Arden trilogy that it just fills my heart with so much joy that like people know the Lord better after they read that trilogy. Rosefire's that way. I feel like I have a more beautiful perspective of like sacrifice and things than I did before, and so getting to put those stories in people's hands and to know that we're not done.
Right.
Like we're still putting out stories that do that and we're getting better at it. We're improving every time we do something, and we're learning better how to put those things in people's hands, and that what it looks like to actually market a book well, and like what does that look like, and how can we do that better? And that's just exciting that there's almost it's not an entirely blank slate, but it's almost like I have a full, I can just we get to figure that out and see what it looks like. And so, I think my dreams are just, I would love to still be doing this with you guys in 10, 15, 20 years.
I would love that too. So I think that's a great idea.
Books.
Yes, so buy our book.
Hashtag shameless plug.
Oh, I love it. Well, we're going to turn the corner, and now are the questions that you didn't get to see ahead of time.
This makes me so nervous.
You do not have to be nervous. There are not wrong answers to these questions. I've just got a few of them, and I'm going to ask. I'll start with, I said you are an avid reader. You read in varying forms. So do you have a favorite format for reading?
Man, this is tough because, like, I want to say a hard copy. I want to say a book in my hands is my favorite. But, like, my life just does not lend to that at all. Like, again, I just told you that the Red Door is, like, marked by its travels. And so I feel like whenever I try to take a hard copy with me places, it gets ruined. So my Kindle, I call it my emotional support Kindle. I love it. If I have insomnia, I can read. My friends are there. If I am going to the doctor's office, I can read and my friends are there. So I also love a good audiobook, but I think my Kindle is my favorite.
All right. We will allow this answer because, as I said, there aren't wrong answers. Guys, reading is reading.
Yes. Although it's debatable on what speed is okay to read.
When
you're listening to audiobooks.
Exactly. You've all listened to Andy Patton's crazy speeds. So
that's wild. 3 times. I can't. 2. I can do 2 on some books.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
3.
I can't.
To each their own. And yeah, I'll allow it.
Yeah. There might be right and wrong answers there. Do you remember a favorite book from when you were in elementary school?
Oh, man. I remember a lot of them. I had one book that I read, and I remember getting it out of the library every year, and I was like, it's my beginning of school. And I would check it out from the library every year. And then I remember the year that I realized that it was like a kid book. And I was like, oh. And it was called Ghost House. And
Ghost House.
Yeah. I remember it was like, you thought it was a haunted house, but it wasn't. And it was actually like kind of light and airy instead of scary. But yeah. And then also Harry Potter came out when I was in elementary school. And I like got to grow up with Harry Potter. So it's really hard to leave that out.
Yep. I hear that. Do you remember one from middle school?
Again, multiple. Actually, I have one from middle school that was a gateway book. It was called Mary, Bloody Mary. And it was an offshoot of the Dear America books, but it was like the Royalty Diaries.
Oh,
and it was about Mary Tudor, thus starting my Henry VIII obsession that exists to this day.
There you go. All right. All right. How about high school?
I loved Lois Duncan in high school. Gallows Hill comes to mind.
Okay.
But I read so much Lois Duncan in high school. So much.
All right.
I'm afraid of where this is going.
No. That's as far as we're going to go. We don't need to go on forever. But I just was like, I had written down elementary, and then I was like, oh, actually, middle school and high school would be interesting too. So
it's a shift for sure.
Yeah, exactly. What is your favorite read from this past year?
Emma M. Lyon, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, okay, that was like last year. I don't know. Project Hail Mary too. They're both just so.
I literally have in parentheses, do you have recency bias for Project Hail Mary?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I'm listening to the audiobook for a second time because it was just so good. And we're going to the movies to see it Saturday, and I'm so happy.
Excellent.
But yes, Project Hail Mary might be one of my new top 5 favorite books of all time.
Okay.
So amazing.
I love it. Okay, so now putting on your writer hat, if you had to write an entire story without either action or dialogue, which would you choose, and how do you think it would go?
Probably no dialogue.
Okay.
I feel like I would not be able to write a sentence if I couldn't tell a reader what was happening.
Okay.
I think that would be difficult, but I think you can communicate a lot with someone's thoughts. Is that allowed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, thoughts and actions instead of dialogue.
Okay. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is think about your current work in progress. What is some weird, hyper-specific detail that you know about one of your characters, but it's really completely irrelevant to the story?
Good gravy. I think that one of my characters is a young man in his early 20s, and I know his favorite video game that is literally completely irrelevant and probably won't ever come up, but I know that he loved video games, and so he has a favorite video game. So I guess that's, yep. Which it serves him well in what ends up happening to him. So
see? All right.
Yeah.
There we go. I know. We're excited to find out more.
More to come. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have made it through your popcorn questions.
I did.
Good job, Melissa.
Well, it wasn't very painful.
See, I told you. It's not hard. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us on the Banderpod.
Thank you so much for having me. Not just here, but just in life.
I'm so glad that you are on the team. Well, listeners, may you find bookish treasures and perhaps some weird things that are adorable in your wanderings off the beaten path. Thanks for listening in to our conversation today on the Banderpod. We hope you'll check out our full catalog at bandersnatchbooks.com. The Banderpod is produced by Rachel S. Donahue, A.B. Donahue, and Carolyn Claire Gibbons. Audio engineering by S.D.G. Morgan. Artwork by Evelyn Warnamendi. Many thanks to our friend Chris Slayton of Son of Laughter for our theme song, Cricket in a Jar. Find links and more in the show notes.